A single S&P 500 ETF just returned nearly 40% in one quarter. Not a leveraged fund, not crypto, not some 3-stock YOLO. A 100-stock index fund charging only 13 basis points. Ticker SPMO, the S&P 500 Momentum ETF, just printed its best quarter ever, and it's not close. The second best quarter in its history, 12 points behind. The money is now pouring in. Here are two facts, and both are true. Fact 1, momentum is real. It's the most embarrassing discovery in academic finance. A return pattern so strong and so persistent that professors who built the efficient market theory had to call it the premier anomaly. Fact 2, buying a momentum fund right after its best quarter ever is how retail investors donate money to the market. By the end of this video, you'll understand how both facts fit together and the pairing that turns momentum from a hot hand you're chasing into an engine you can actually hold on to. Let's get into it. If you're new here, I'm Mark Anderson, construction worker turned zero DTE and multi-strategy hedge fund manager of MBH Capital Management. Momentum is one of the return engines we harvest inside our multi-strategy fund today. And today, I'm going to show you the machinery, not the headline. First, what SPMO actually is, because most people buying it this month have no idea. SPMO tracks the S&P 500 Momentum Index. Here's the recipe. Take every stock's return over the past 12 months, excluding the most recent month. Hold that thought, because the exclusion matters. Adjust for volatility so a stock that went up smoothly scores higher than one that zigzagged its way there. Take roughly the top 100 names, weight by momentum score, and size. And this is the key mechanism in the detail. Rebalance twice per year, once in March and the other time in September. Now watch the machine work. On March 20th, the index rebalanced and loaded up on what's been working, the AI infrastructure trade. Micron became the top holding at roughly 10%, with Nvidia and Broadcom stacked behind it. Then quarter 2 happened. The semiconductor complex ripped, and SPMO was maximally positioned for that exact move, up almost 40% on the quarter in total return terms, while the S&P did 15. That's not luck. That's the strategy doing exactly what it says on the label. Own whatever the market has been rewarding in size. Two things to notice here. The top 10 holdings are about 50% of this ETF. This is not a diversified index anymore. It's a concentrated bet on continuation, and it's not a tech fund. Johnson & Johnson sits at 4.5%. Momentum has no loyalty. It's whatever is working fund, and match it so it hits the full utilities of all sectors. So why does this even work at all? In an efficient market, it shouldn't. Past prices are public information. You shouldn't be able to make money just by buying what has already been up. And yet, in 1993, 2 researchers published the paper that broke everyone's brain. Stocks that outperformed over the past 12 months, skipping the last month, kept outperforming for the next several months, not sometimes, systematically. In 1997, Carhartt showed you what you couldn't explain in mutual funds performance without adding momentum as its own factor, right next to the market, size, and value. It's been found in almost every market anyone has checked. US stocks, international stocks, bonds, currencies, commodities, in data reaching back over a century. Even Gene Fama, the father of efficient markets, conceded it's the premier anomaly in finance. Why does this even exist? The honest answer, human beings. Markets underreact to news. Good earnings come out, the stock jumps, but not enough. The full repricing takes months. As institutions scale in, the herd arrives. And why does the recipe exclude the most recent month? Because at a 1-month horizon, the pattern flips. Short-term moves tend to snap back. The market overreads on the scale of weeks and underreacts on the scale of months. Momentum harvests the second effect and sidesteps the first. It's a machine built out of other people's psychology, which is exactly why it hasn't been arbitraged away. The crowd can't stop being the crowd. Now the part the influencers hyping SPMO this month won't tell you about. Momentum crashes, not drawdowns, crashes. The worst one on record, 2009. The market had collapsed, and momentum portfolios were positioned in everything defensive that had held up. Then the recovery hit, and the junk that had fallen 80% ripped 150%. Momentum strategies were positioned exactly backwards and got destroyed in these months. That's the signature failure mode. Momentum dies at the regime turn because by construction, it's always positioned for yesterday's regime to continue. You can see the same fingerprint in miniature, more recently sized versions. One review of SPMO's own record is one line, up 45% in 1 year, down 10% the next. Here's the uncomfortable meta point. Buying SPMO because it just had its bet quarter is in itself a momentum trade. The naive 1 month kind, the actual strategy that it deliberately excludes. You're chasing that. You're a chaser. The fund's own recipe says the most recent pop is the least reliable signal on the board. So no, I'm not telling you to skip the momentum trade. The premium is real. A century of data says so. I'm telling you the question is never, should I buy what's hot? It's what do I hold next to it so I can survive owning it? Quick break here. Today's sponsor, MVH Capital Management. Yeah, my fund. The search committee ran the numbers, and the most uncorrelated sponsor available to us was, of course, us. MVH1, our zero DTE engine, and MVH2, our multi-strategy fund, where factor premiums like this one and this video are 2 return engines we stack. Accredited investors only, there's a call in the link to book a call or for our monthly performance newsletter. Enter the other side of the trade, value, buying what's cheap, unloved, and boring, the exact opposite temperament. In 2013, Cliff Asness and his co-authors published a paper with a title that gives away the ending, Value and Momentum. Everywhere, 2 findings matter here. First, both premia show up essentially in every asset class that they touched. Second, and this is the one that should change your allocation, value and momentum are negatively correlated. Meaningfully, roughly minus 0.5 in their data. Think about why. Momentum buys what's rich and running, value buys what's cheap and left for dead. Momentum's nightmare, the regime term where beaten down garbage rips, is value's best day. Value's nightmare, a decade where expensive winners just keep winning, like the 2010s, is exactly where momentum feast. 2 positive expected returns, opposite failure modes. Now that minus 0.5 correlation comes from long-short academic portfolios. I wanted to know what it looks like when you actually stack an ETF you can buy. So we ran the daily data, SPMO momentum against AVUV, the small cap value fund I'll get into in a minute. From late 2019 through this month, raw correlation 0.64. Sounds high, right? That's because both funds are still stocks, and the market beta dominates everything on a daily chart. But strip out the market measure, each fund's return relative to the S&P 500 and the factors laying underneath show up at minus 0.24 correlation. The bets they're making against the index genuinely lean in opposite directions. You can see it in the years too. 2020, SPMO up 28%, AVUV up 6%, 2021, AVUV up 42%, SPMO up 23%, 2024, SPMO up 46%, AVUV up 9%. Whoever's losing the year, the other one is usually carrying it. But the cleanest demonstration was the COVID crash. In this crash, momentum held up better. SPMO fell 31%, while AVUV fell 46%. Then the regime turned. And from the March bottom through the year end, AVUV ripped 110%, while SPMO did 72%. The crash punished one. The recovery, the exact tape that breaks historically, momentum paid. That's the pairing thesis printing in live data. And if you watched my gold video already, you know the next 2 moves. 2 volatile return streams that don't move together, plus a rebalancing rule equals getting paid for the volatility. Momentum rips 30% in a quarter, just like it did. The rule skims the game and reloads on the cheap sleeve. Value has a great day, skim it back. You're not predicting which factor wins in the next regime. You're taxing whichever one is winning. The rule is the yield. Implementation. The momentum side is easy. SPMO, 13 basis points of fee. Does what the papers describe. The value side has a trap. And this is the detail that separates people who read labels from people who read holdings. The biggest value factor ETF, VLUV, scores stocks as cheap relative to their own sector. Sounds smart, right? But right now, that method makes its top holding Micron at roughly 9%, the same as SPMO's top holding. But that pair, your diversification, is two funds holding the exact same stock for opposite reasons. The correlation benefit you read about in that paper, you just bought none of it. The cleaner pair is this, something like AVUV. Avantis US small cap value has only 25 basis points of fee, several billion in assets under management, and holds small, genuinely cheap and profitable companies. Think banks, energies, industrials, practically zero overlap with large cap momentum books like SPMO. That's what different return streams actually look like at the holding level. And the lesson here is to this. When you pair factors, check the overlap, not the labels. Sizing this sleeve is a decision, not a portfolio takeover. Whatever slice of equity your book has, give it two factors. Split between the two slides and write the rebalancing rule down. In our back test, we pair these. Whenever there's a 5 to 10% drift, we rebalance. It roughly happens every 8 months, and added roughly 60 basis points over a year to CAGR over never touching it. Small, but it's a phantom yield we've talked about before, and it compounds over time. Now, let me be honest about one more thing, because you know how I feel about backtests with flattering endpoints. Over this exact window, SPMO alone beat 50-50 blend of value and momentum, 23% a year, a Sharpe of over 0.9. Of course it did. The window ends the week after the best momentum quarter in history. Measuring the pair on the day momentum peaked is the same as the endpoint trap is measuring gold from $35 up to the inflation in 1970. The blend there is the window, and it just closed. If there's a true regime, nobody schedules like 2020, style reversal where the funds that fell less rip less, and the sleeve everyone was bored of pays for the entire year, what you're not going to do is dump your whole allocation into SPMO in July because of the headlines from June. Quick recap. SPMO's monster quarter was a momentum machine working as designed. March rebalance, semiconductor positions, and concentration. Momentum is the most replicated anomaly in finance. 12 months minus the last month. Built from underreaction and hurting, paid for a century. But it crashes at regime turns. And chasing it after record quarters is the naive version of this very strategy you're buying. The fix is pairing it with value and momentum. Negatively correlated, opposite failure modes, blended and rebalanced. And pick a value fund that actually differs at its holding levels, not just from the label. You heard from our sponsor at the half. Links are below for MBH1 or 0DT fund and MBH2 or multi-strategy. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. Comment below, are you holding SPMO right now? And what's on the other side of it in your portfolio? If the answer is nothing, that's the comment I want to see. I read every one. I'll see you guys on the next one.